Hi Ninja Nerds, in this video we're going to talk about ectopic pregnancy. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment down below, don't forget to subscribe. Check out ninjanerd.org where we have our notes and lecture illustrations for you guys to check out and follow along with these videos. Ectopic pregnancy is the abnormal implantation of the fertilized ovum that's outside the uterus. So let's real quick orient ourselves here within this diagram. All right, we have our uterus here. And we have our ovary. And then this up here is our fallopian tube. Right? And what we're looking at here is ectopic, meaning the implantation outside of the uterus. So typically we have an ovum that will implant here, and then the pregnancy will grow placenta, baby will grow, fetus will grow. But approximately 90 to 95% of ectopic pregnancies occur within our fallopian tube, or they occur outside the uterus. The fallopian tube is the most common. It can also be within the ovary. It could be, unfortunately, on the cervix. So with these pregnancies, when they are not within the uterus, they typically are not viable because they're not in a place that is able to stretch and grow with the growing fetus. And the problems with this is if that fallopian tube specifically is not stretching with our fetus as it grows, it does not stretch, right? And then it can rupture. So typically patients with ectopic pregnancies won't know that they have it, but there are some risk factors that may lead to patients having them more common than not. So some patients or risk factors that will indicate that patient may have an ectopic pregnancy is an STI, a sexually transmitted infection, an IUD, which is our intrauterine device, and then if they've had any type of previous tubal surgery on the fallopian tube or any previous ectopic pregnancy before, can also predispose them to another one. So let's talk about what the assessment will look like, the signs and symptoms of our patient, and what we are going to be looking for if they do possibly have an ectopic pregnancy. All right, so let's talk about our assessment, or the signs and symptoms that are typical for a patient that may have an ectopic pregnancy. And I want you guys to understand that these things that we're looking for are what we're going to try to figure out if our patient is having an ectopic pregnancy, because when we are assessing our patient, some of these are just those little like zingers that a patient might say, or a patient might complain about, that you're just like, hey, maybe this is something else and it's not what we think it is. So when we are assessing for this, it's typically a woman of childbearing age, and we're going to possibly have them say things like, I was at home, I had a positive pregnancy test, and I'm having morning sickness. Is going to be those common signs of pregnancy. Or they may just go in to say some other things like, I have some abdominal or pelvic pain, or I'm having this abnormal dark red brown vaginal bleeding. And all of these things can be normal assessments for other topics. So for example, a normal pregnancy test with some morning sickness and then an increase in our HCG is just maybe our patient's just pregnant. Or if they're having lower abdominal or pelvic pain, they could have something else like an STI, or they could be having some appendicitis, you don't know. And then the dark red brown vaginal bleeding could just be symptoms of a different type of menstrual period that this patient is going through, or something else going on that's not related to pregnancy. But when you start to see your patient as a whole picture, and they start saying things like, I've been being sick in the morning, I'm having this abdominal pain, I'm getting this abnormal bleeding that is not going on with my normal period, you might start to think, something else might be going on with my patient. And there's a delineage between ectopic pregnancy versus the rupture of that ectopic pregnancy. So when we are assessing our patient, if they start saying, like, my abdominal pain is just so bad, like they're not even able to tell you because they're just bent over, they might be wincing, they are having this excruciating pain, along with some other things that we're going to be looking into if it were to have ruptured, right? So again, I said before that if we have a fallopian tube pregnancy or tubal ectopic pregnancy, right? Maybe it's on this side since that's where I drew the blood previously, but if it was on this side and it were to rupture, right? Because this fallopian tube, again, is not elastic, it's not stretchy, it's not able to accommodate for that growing fetus. If it does eventually rupture, it can cause bleeding, and that bleeding inside this abdominal cavity can go up and irritate the diaphragm. And when it irritates the diaphragm, it can irritate the phrenic nerve, and then it can cause some They call it shoulder point or tip pain. So let's go back and say, okay, if a patient has a rupture, they're going to have a lot of pain. And they may also have signs of hypotension because we're going to have that hemorrhage on the inside of the body. So they're going to be showing signs of hemorrhage or hypotension. They're going to have tachycardia. They might be pale. They might be altered mentally or complaining of dizziness or lightheaded. And then they're going to have one of those signs that you're going to think, might be an ectopic pregnancy, is that referred shoulder pain, specifically shoulder tip is what they say. And that all has to do, again, with this irritation of the diaphragm and the phrenic nerve, which goes in and causes some pain up on the tip of the shoulder. And this is a cause for emergency. When we have a patient in this scenario, it's that hypotensive, we want to get them stable, and we want to, hopefully figure out quickly what's going on. This is a woman of childbearing age who's looking very, very sick, and I'm very concerned, and they're having that internal hemorrhage there. So that is a whole different scenario of taking care of the patient. We want to stabilize them, making sure that we can get them under control. However, a patient that does have ectopic pregnancy that maybe doesn't even really know that they have it, they can spontaneously abort, and that might be why they're coming in, because they're just having this bleeding that's abnormal and they're having some pain, and they might already have had the body push through and spontaneously abort this pregnancy. Or they'll have that rupture, which is when we go into that severe emergency, taking care of that patient. So let's go in to talk about what's going on with our patient, how we are going to diagnose, and then also how we will treat these patients that possibly do have an ectopic pregnancy. All right, so we're going to move into how we're going to figure out that our patient possibly has an ectopic pregnancy. And some of these patients may be, again, asymptomatic. They may come in and just complain of abdominal pain, or they're having some nausea and vomiting, or they're having some abnormal bleeding, and all of those could indicate pregnancy. They could be a probable sign of pregnancy or a presumptuous sign, but they are not a definite sign of pregnancy. So remember, when we go in to diagnose an ectopic pregnancy, one of those big things that we're going to be looking at is, besides doing a urine pregnancy, which typically any patient that comes in with a female of childbearing age, you're going to think they could be pregnant. So it's one of the reasons why we quick do a urine analysis to check a urine HCG to check if the patient is pregnant. But then one of the other signs is doing an ultrasound. When we do an ultrasound, whether it's abdominal or transvaginal, if the uterus is empty and the patient has a positive pregnancy test or an elevated HCG, we might be thinking, where else is this pregnancy? So when we do the ultrasound, we're going to be hopefully locating that pregnancy. If the uterus is empty, then we're going to be looking in those other places, the fallopian tubes, down at the cervix, even in the abdominal cavity, somewhere to find this pregnancy. If they are having other signs, that may be an elevated or a serum progesterone or an elevated HCG level. And when we do, and if we do find an ectopic pregnancy, there's a couple different ways that we can treat them. First of all, what we want to do is, if the patient is asymptomatic, we can hopefully just manage them and prevent that rupture, right? So if we catch it early enough, we're going to be able to give them some medications. So one of them is methotrexate, which is a medication that's going to inhibit the growth of the embryo. So again, to hopefully delineate from that rupture, we want to make sure that this patient is cared for their symptoms that they're having. So if they are very asymptomatic and we are able and early enough to give them methotrexate so it doesn't grow to expand or rupture within the fallopian tube, that's a good thing for us to do. But if we can't and we have to move into places like surgery, we can also do two different types of surgery. We can do a salpingostomy, which is the salvage of the fallopian tube if it's unruptured. What we do is we go in and hopefully remove the ectopic pregnancy and not cause any issue with the fallopian tube. However, you guys know that one of the risk factors of ectopic pregnancy is a surgery on the tubes, and that can be one of those issues that we have. But hopefully we can salvage the fallopian tube, remove the pregnancy, and the patient then can have recovery from the surgery and then move on without having type of rupture. But then we can also have a salpingoectomy, which is where we remove the fallopian tube altogether. And that unfortunately has its own set course for the patient. We want to make sure that our patient, again, is getting that proper healing from that surgery. But what you need to take from this and also indicate on tests or exams or even with your patient is there's a couple things. One, it's fatal for the fetus. Ectopic pregnancies are fatal for the fetus. The fetus is not in an area for it to grow and thrive. Now, there are those outstanding circumstances and those weird cases that patients do have a fetus to term, but it can also have some issues down the line as well. So it can be fatal for the fetus, but we can also have a pregnancy loss support group is the big thing. So we want to talk to our patient, because our patient is going to have trouble with, maybe they did know they were pregnant and then they go in for their first ultrasound and now we're finding out that it's an ectopic pregnancy and there's going to be some sort of termination in order to hopefully preserve mom's life. So pregnancy loss support groups are a big thing that we want to refer our patients to help them through that difficult time. But with ectopic pregnancies, we want to make sure that we know it's something that we can hopefully take care of mom and get them through that time, because we can then preserve at least one life. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, comment down below. And as always, until next time.